Hello, my lovely people. I am back with part 2 of my series of death and social norms. You know, that natural order of life as it's defined by social norms. So I was reading this article in which I will place the link in the description box just so I can have a couple of points of reference and to talk about, and something for you all to read up on yourselves. But this one particular article pretty much addressed all major cultures on the planet, it seemed like. How different cultures, along with now certain social components, and family traditions, dealt with death. Here in the United States, of course, Christianity is the majority in religion. And even with that, you still have different practices when it comes to death, right? And but for the most part, death, depending on what culture we're looking at, here in the United States, we tend to, here in the South, like I said once before, to bury our dead. More and more people now are leaning toward cremations. Now, let's talk about the emotional side of it, that social component of death. A lot of times here in the U.S. and people wear dark colors, However, in, I think it's Japan, they wear white, right? And in certain cultures, the grieving individual, the clothes that they wear during their grieving process is taken and then burned, Now, I didn't think about that, but believe me, when I bought this, I didn't even buy it. Somebody went and bought it for me, a black dress for the funeral. I could have burned that. I don't even know what happened to it. I never ever touched it again. But here's the thing. We've already established how death, this natural experience, can have an element of joy and happiness. And then on the other end of the spectrum, it can have this energy of heartache, sorrow, pain, a sting to it that you just want to get rid of. Just heavy sadness. It's the same event, but with such a big difference in reception, and how it's received. Now remember, this series is not to change any form or have anyone conform to any one tradition or anything, or question what you're doing now, what your belief is now about death. This series is to help ease any discomfort that you have with death. Because something as natural as this event should not bring on such a drastic difference within each other, And with that being said, I'm looking at my notes. I want to know who is correct. Let's go to use the example I had in example one. I'm sorry, in part one of this series. My children's great-grandfather just recently transitioned. And the element of the planning and the doing the after funeral and arrangements, everybody was so warm and the atmosphere was very soft and happy, celebratory. However, on the other end, right, a young wife who was pregnant with her son buries her husband. And there's so much pain, sadness. It was just really sad for everybody. It was just very heavy. Nothing light about it at all. So I used the idea that maybe death was in its element when it's defined by social norms as the natural order of life. In the case of great-grandfather transitioning, most cultures would consider that the natural order of life. A parent give birth to the children, raise the children, the parents finish out their lives, and then the children then bury the parent, right? However, there's the reality that, a young parent burying their child could be the reverse. All right? And nobody wants to do that. It'll be very sad and very heavy. As if you asked anybody in that particular room, how does the room feel? It was like, I don't like it. It's just too sad. I just cannot handle the heaviness of the emotions in there. So it's as if death was not in its element in that particular situation, right? But hey, like I said, take a look at this article, because here are some facts. In certain cultures, death, regardless of the order, is celebrated. The life of an individual is celebrated. Death is celebrated. In Native American cultures, the bodies are typically cremated, and a celebration of life goes on. And when I mean celebration, like singing, dancing, and not just in Native American cultures. And when we accept an event as natural as death, regardless of which order it decides to show itself in your experience, it is best to receive it, acknowledge it, and say, I may not like this feeling. Because in both situations, there's going to be this feeling of loss, or, separation anxiety. So I understand that. I'm not dismissing that at all. But what I want to share with you is it's natural. I need you to breathe and hold it and release it slowly. Death is not something that comes to bring you pain, heartache, sadness, or to create a sting within your spirit and in your soul. No, it's not. So I truly believe if we can take death, the event itself, regardless of its order, and accept it as a natural event that has no timeline. And because of that, it should encourage each and every one of us to live right now in the moment, to be 100% or 90% in the present, loving right now, saying what needs to be said right now with love and honesty and truth, being kind to yourself and others. Because remember, death does not, how should I put it, go by anyone's schedule, for the most part. So it's so much, I want to say, warming and an element of relief when you accept death as something that is loving and harmless. Okay? You can't speak it into existence. It's not to bring you bad luck. So take care of your finances. Write those wills. Have those conversations. Give those hugs. Right now, in the present. Have those family dinners. Remove negative people and situations out of your life. And if you can't, politely dismiss yourself from negative people, situations, and atmospheres. If you can. So to answer the question, who is correct? Is it the natural order of life? Or is it placing death as best you can within the confines of what social norms say death should be? Now remember, the natural order of life is the result of social norms, because it's social norms, depending on, which culture we're talking about, dictates, how your perspective on this natural order of life. Okay. So let's not put death in this box that cannot contain it at all. So it's not to disrespect anyone's, definitely. I'm not here to do that. But wherever you place death, just know that it's not here, and it wasn't created to cause you pain, heartache. If anything, it comes to encourage you to love even more in that middle part of life. So be blessed and have a great one, and know that you get through this.